135 million people already trust this bank with their money. It just posted $5 billion in revenue in a single quarter, a first in its entire history. And now, it is coming for your bank account, right here, in the United States. I am talking about NU Holdings, ticker NU on the New York Stock Exchange. The neobank that became the #1 private financial institution in Brazil, the third largest in Mexico, and just received federal approval to open a national bank on American soil. But here is the catch. The stock just dropped 15%. Is this a dip you want to buy, or is it a trap? We are breaking it all down today. I am Tony, and this is Tony Crypto and Stock News, where we cover the good, the bad, and the ugly that others will not touch. Quick market check. The good, S&P 500 holding above 5,700. Tech leading. Bitcoin stabilizing near $104,000. Crypto total market cap above 2.8 trillion. And NU itself is still up 65% in total returns over the past year, even after the recent pullback. The bad, the Fed is still holding rates. No cuts yet. NU stock slipped roughly 15% from recent highs after earnings. Credit provisions are rising quarter over quarter, and Brazil macro uncertainty is still in the background. The ugly, and we do not hide this. New insiders sold $4.4 million in shares over the past 3 months. A Form 144 filing on May 15th flagged another potential insider sale. The U.S. charter is still conditional, not final. These are real risks, and we are going to talk about all of them. So what exactly is NU Holdings? Think of it as the Chime or SoFi of Latin America, except far bigger and far more profitable than either of those. NU operates as Nubank, 100% digital, no physical branches, no crazy fees, no gatekeeping, just a mobile app offering banking, credit cards, lending, and investments. In Brazil alone, 115 million customers, the #1 private financial institution in the country. They knocked off the big Brazilian banks in their own backyard. That is not a small feat. Brazilian banking is one of the most entrenched industries on the planet. Mexico, 15 million customers, now the third largest financial institution in that market. And this is huge. Mexico just hit break-even for the first time in Q1 2026, ahead of their own internal schedule. That means the second engine is now turned on. Colombia is scaling fast. And then, there is the United States, January 29th, 2026. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC, gave NU conditional approval to form Nubank N.A., a full U.S. national bank. Deposit accounts, credit cards, lending, digital asset custody, all under a federal charter. They are not just talking about it either. NU has already opened U.S. hubs in Miami, the San Francisco Bay Area, Northern Virginia, and the North Carolina Research Triangle. 4 cities, they are already on the ground. And this is what really got my attention. NU co-founder Cristina Junqueira physically relocated to the United States to serve as CEO of Nubank N.A. That is not a press release hire, that is a founding-level commitment. One of the people who built this company from nothing is personally betting on the U.S. launch. They also brought in Roberto Campos Neto, the former president of the Central Bank of Brazil, as chairman of the U.S. board. The man who ran Brazil's entire central banking system. That is credibility you cannot fake with American regulators. Let us talk numbers. Q1 2026, $5 billion in quarterly revenue for the first time ever. A record. Net income, $871 million. Up 41% year over year. The highest first quarter in the company's history. Return on equity, 29%. For context, most U.S. banks run return on equity in the 10 to 15% range. NU is at 29. That is not a fintech pretending to be profitable. That is a real bank printing real money. Total deposits up 22% year over year to $42.4 billion. Credit portfolio up 40% to $37.2 billion. Unsecured lending growing at 53% year over year. Efficiency ratio, 16.6%, a record low. The lower that number, the better. Most banks are nowhere near 16%. Now, why did the stock fall after these numbers? Because credit loss allowances jumped 33% quarter over quarter. The risk-adjusted net interest margin dropped 100 basis points to 9.5%. Management called 2026 an investment year. Those are the headwinds. We will cover them in full on the bull versus bear slide. Here is something most people miss when they look at NU. The ripple effect. If NU grows, it does not just benefit new shareholders. It benefits an entire ecosystem of companies. Let me walk you through 4 of them. First, Visa, ticker V. NU issues Visa-branded credit cards to over 135 million customers. Every single transaction those customers make runs on Visa's network. NU growth equals Visa volume growth. It is that direct. If NU goes from 135 million to 200 million customers, Visa wins automatically. Second, Mercado Libre, ticker MELI. MELI is essentially the Amazon plus PayPal of Latin America. NU and MELI both dominate the Latin American fintech ecosystem. NU growing its user base expands the entire digital payment culture in the region. And MELI operates inside that same culture. Rising tide lifts both boats. Third, NVIDIA, ticker NVDA. NU's CFO confirmed that GPU and AI spending is going up in 2026. They are rolling out AI-powered credit underwriting across the entire platform. More NU scale means more AI compute demand. That demand runs on NVIDIA chips. Fourth, and this one is interesting for my XRP community, Ripple, ticker XRP. Ripple's on-demand liquidity product is specifically built for cross-border payments in the Latin America corridors. Brazil to Mexico, Mexico to Colombia, those are exactly the corridors NU operates in. A NU and Ripple settlement integration would be a completely natural fit. This is speculative, but the alignment is real. All right, here is the honest breakdown. Bull case first. The stock is down roughly 15% from its highs. If the thesis is right, this is a discounted entry. The U.S. bank charter opens up a $4 trillion plus addressable market. 135 million customers who already trust the product. Revenue compounding at 20 to 40% annually. Forward price to earnings of 17 times, which is cheap for a company growing this fast. Mexico just hit break-even ahead of schedule. A second growth engine is online. And Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway holds NU. When Buffett bets on a bank, serious people pay attention. Bear case. Credit loss allowance jumped 33% quarter over quarter. Credit risk is rising as they lend more. Risk-adjusted net interest margin fell 100 basis points. Management called 2026 an investment year, which means near-term profitability could compress. Insiders are selling. Brazil FX risk is real. They earn in Brazilian reals but report in US dollars. The U.S. market is crowded with SoFi, Chime, and every major bank already in the space. And the U.S. charter is still conditional. It is not a done deal. My take. This is a long-term story for patient investors. If you believe in digital-first global banking, the valuation after this pullback is compelling. But do not oversize your position. This is not a quick trade. Before I let you go, I want to leave you with this from Luke 14:28. For which of you, intending to build a tower, does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Every investment is a tower you are trying to build. Count the cost. Know what you are getting into. That is the discipline that separates smart money from noise. If this episode gave you value, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell. We are at Tony Crypto News on YouTube, X, Instagram, and TikTok. Want to trade crypto or stock? Use my Kraken or my SoFi links in the description. Open a SoFi active investing account with $25 or more and get $25 in free stock. Link is in the description below. I'm Tony. See you in the next one. God bless.